When it got serious, when the death happened.
Yeah, yeah. That is something that rocked our culture, and I think was going to be forever talked about from forever now.
So,
And do you think that those murders would ever be solved? What we hear, let me say this: what we hear in New York, I know it's not what y'all hear here. You know what I'm saying? So, uh, what we hear in New York is the typical stuff. We don't really know. You know what I'm saying? From our understanding, Tupac was killed by Orlando Anderson. We hear all this other stuff sometimes, like even with Spider that I'm going to see. Shout out to Spider Low. I've heard him say that's not true, and I've heard other people say that's not true, and it's a lot to that seems, from a law enforcement perspective, that seems not to add up about all of that. And then that goes into the Biggie thing too. Both of those murders are still like unsolved. Can you share the West Coast perspective on that?
um, well, yeah, they big California, a lot of things get unsolved. You know what I mean? And that's that's just a realm of how things are on this side. Situation with Pac is unfortunate. You know what I mean? You know, in our culture, you have a lot of red and blue situations and problems, and that situation and problem lies into the same affiliation of red and blue, blood and grit. You know what I mean? It was just unfortunate that he got into a situation of with some individuals and from Compton that are highly respected and kind of, what I mean, known for what they do. And his situation that people highlight is because he got into that situation in the casino with Orlando that, the world, of course, knows, you know what I mean? And later that night, come to his demise on that situation that went on. A lot of people will highlight it and say it, oh, because it's Orlando. It happened and it's Orlando. Nobody knows as far as what was situation, what I mean, and or who or what in that instance. But we all know that, you mess with a group of individuals, there's retaliation that some group of individuals will sit here and have to come back. You know what I mean? Is it per se that be that exact individual? No, let's just say that I can personally tell you the individual that they sit here and mess with is a well respected, reputable individual. Well respected, superly respected. Like when from our city, when we sit here and say, what I mean, he's a general, what I mean, or what we used to call in company, he's a local, what I mean, like he's a one, like he's a rider that like Orlando is that. So where who you came across that situation with, what I mean. I see there's somebody tell me a story one time. It's like it would have been good that those individuals actually knew of each other, what I mean, and or knew, what I mean, or met on a better, different term. You'd have a lot of respect for Orlando because of who he was. He was a rock. You know what I mean? I think the influencement of, I'm gonna just be straight up with you, is a bad seed in every situation, which is Chiller. And I'm gonna point that name out. It's a bad seed in every situation. You know what I mean? Was a bad influencement on that night, individuals, life, business, everything. You know what I mean? Despite of the riches that come with it, which again is it could be the poison to some people, it could be the curse to some people, maybe because of the fact of they're making all this money and everything. He's just a bad seed. So, a bad seed that just planted some negativity in you to get you into a ruffle with some individuals and a retaliation comes. That doesn't for certain to say that hey, it was Orlando or any instance. Just I'm just saying that Orlando had respect So, you know what I mean? It could be anybody that has this much respect for him. It could be a little homie. It could be an individual that sit here and say, hey, you know what I mean? I want to make an example of somebody sit here messing with, you know what I mean, my big homeboy. Or per se, which the world knows, my nephew.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So of course individuals know that Keith is in a tight situation for that situation. And who's to say like, you know, what he did besides what he spoke around his mouth that went on, which is another person's own demise. You know what I mean? But yeah, you can't put that on Orlando. What we can put is that you guys attacked Orlando. And you know, he's highly respected and comes from a place that's right around the corner down the street from where I'm at. So when you look at it, it's
Right around the corner from you.
I'm from East Side South Compton.
Mm-hmm.
They're from South Side.
Wow. Okay.
So cruising down the East Side South of Compton, that's us. South Side, it's right across the boulevard.
Got you.
We're here. South Side is the backyard right there.
Okay.
So Orlando's family I grew up with. Orlando's uncles grew up with my father. You know what I mean? So I know that I know his mother. You know, Charlotte B. I know too much well, and in respect to her and everything, for individuals to stop putting that target or that thing on her son's name.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why I asked him. Yeah.
I respect, you know, for Charlotte and knows that I love her as well, and you know what I mean, was looked at as a little nephew of hers, always coming around. I took their niece to prom. You know, she was my high school sweetheart.
Okay, yeah, you family. Yeah.
So I go back to understand that.
Completely understood.
You know what I mean? Out of respect for Charlotte is just individuals tagging her son as that when he was attacked.
Yes, yes.
You know what I mean?
Which we clearly saw. Yes.
To tag him as an individual that, hey, is behind of what went on. You know what I mean? So that's not fair. You know what I mean? And that ain't right. And there's no proof or nothing whatsoever to that. But, you know, again, I just sit there and say, hey, that individual that was attacked was well respected. You know what I mean? To you know.
You ever heard of Gene Deal?
Gene Deal? No.
All right. So Gene Deal is, shout out to Gene. That's Puffy bodyguard that was there the night when Biggie got killed. And he was the one that said he would carry Biggie out the car, had to pull Biggie body out the car. Wow. Gene Deal, which is kind of real big. So Gene Deal was on the show. He did a show with me, you know, personal close friend of mine. And we was talking, and Gene, you know, Gene is police, you know. So Gene said on my show, he said, Bigga, I was told that the shooter walked up to the car. So, you know, when he said that, you know, how that go, you know what it said, he said, and he said it like real, it's right there, anyone could look up the street, he said, I told the shooter walked up to the car. I said, whoa. He said it was the drive-by. He said, I was told the shooter walked up to the car. Now, Suge is saying that. Suge, I don't know if you recently heard, but Suge recently came out and said, what the world don't know, it was 2 separate shootings that night. That there was the first shooting, and then someone walked up directly on the car.
Wow.
Suge saying that now.
Wow.
And apparently, you know, it was an inside job, Suge is saying. He said the person that did it was a death row employee and broke his heart. They looked directly at the guy.
I said, get him, get him, get him. I'm gonna get him, hit him, get him. I said, how can a apostle be this hostile? With no home training, you know I'll pop you. Stop your breathing and close your nostrils. plot your death while I read the Gospels. You're a hassle, you dirty rascal. You wanna wrestle, what survive the tassel? My cerebral, see no evil. You can't be a boss if you're weak and feeble. See, Sean Bigga, I'm bona fide, and you just born to fly. Said he had strengths on him rely. Picture that I then replied. The world is dark, it's just a matrix. My light will shine, I am the greatest. I said he's chicken, shit's kebab. Try to play me, this to God. In debate on what the profit is, as I squeeze esophagus. Get him, get him, get him.